Hi everyone, my name is Chrys. I'm the author of Write with Faye, 10 Sparks to Guide You from Idea to Publication. This book is all about writing, editing, publishing, and marketing your book or books. And there's also a nice big section in there about character development. This presentation is about blogging for writers. First up, what is a blog? Short for weblog, a blog is a website that is updated regularly with new material. Back when blogging first became popular in the early 2000s, it was treated as sort of a live journal, a diary, where people could post daily or maybe once a week about their lives. But soon people started to realize that they could use a blog to promote their service, or their job, their career, whatever that they did. And writers started to realize that they could use their blog to promote their books. Why should you blog? There are several reasons why I believe writers should have a blog. And the first one is you can find a wonderful community. This community could consist of writers, authors, many different people in the publishing industry, and of course, readers. You can share your knowledge, and this could be about writing and publishing, or it could be something not related to writing or publishing. For example, say you have a character in your book who is a fisherman. You could create a once a month or a once a week blog feature on your blog all about fishing. And then you will attract everyone who enjoys fishing. They will come to your blog, they will read your posts, and these are the people who could be interested in your book about the character who is a fisherman. And that is how you generate interest in your work. You can also use it as a website. Many of the things that a website has, a blog can also have. How blogging changed my life. First off, I would not be here today, sitting at my desk, creating a video out of this presentation if it wasn't for blogging, and if I hadn't created my blog in the first place. I got to know many great individuals, people who have inspired me and encouraged me, who have helped me, and who I have helped and inspired and encouraged in return. These people would come to my blog and they would tell me how helpful my posts were, especially the marketing posts. They would tell me that I should create a book with all of the marketing information that I put on my blog. And of course, that was something that I had dreamed about doing, but I didn't know if it was possible. But receiving comments like that made me think that it was possible, that it could happen. And it did. Write with Faye, 10 Sparks to Guide You from Idea to Publication is the book that was inspired by my blog. And it is published now, available everywhere, Amazon, BarnesNoble.com. Before you start blogging, it is important that you have a plan. Know what you want to blog about. And if you're a writer, you can definitely blog about your books. For example, you could have one once a month feature on your blog about one of your books. You could have another once a month feature on your blog dedicated toward a series. And you can have another once a month feature on your blog dedicated to another book, maybe a children's book or a nonfiction book. Know which blog hops you want to join, and I will explain what a blog hop is shortly. And also have several posts ready to go. I suggest this because a blog takes a lot of time and energy, especially when you are first starting out. And when you are first starting out, you want to focus on getting people to your blog. So before you even start to share your blog's URL, make sure that you have several posts already written. I suggest 5 to 10. And have those posts scheduled, all set up and ready to go live on your blog on a date that you pick. And how often you post is completely up to you. And then when that post or posts go live on your blog, you can promote it everywhere on social media, and you could visit blogs to get those bloggers to come to yours. Having those posts ready to go saves a lot of time. How often you post, as I mentioned before, is completely up to you. You could post once a week. You could post 3 times a week. When I first started blogging, for the first 2 years, I blogged once a week. And that is what I do suggest first-time bloggers to start out with, because you are building your blog, and the more you do post, the more people will come to your blog, the more activity you will get. So if you only post once a month, it's going to take you a very long time to build up your blog. Once a week is a great place to start. After my first 2 years of blogging once a week, I did upgrade to 3 times a week. I posted on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But that takes a lot of time and energy. I did that for a couple of years before downgrading to once or twice a month, and that is what I am currently doing. There are some nuts out there who blog every single day. I don't suggest that you do this right away, because you need to see how blogging will impact your life. It is a big responsibility. As I said before, it takes time and energy. So start out small and then work your way up to 3 times a week. And if you really love it and you have the time, you can start doing it every single day. Mondays are the best days to post because there's the most traffic on Mondays to blogs and websites. And I believe this is because it's back to work again. People are checking their blog feeds before they go to work, during their lunch break, and when they get home from work. I suggest that you post or schedule your posts to go live between 5 and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because you are catching all of the early risers in the East Coast, and then you're also catching everyone else in the other time zones as they wake up and get started for the day and, check their blog feeds. Devote at least 30 minutes to 1 hour to your blog. I mention that because someone once asked me how much time they should spend blogging. Well, it's different for everyone. For example, if you're doing a blog hop, you might be spending a little bit more time participating in that blog hop and visiting a lot of other participants. But if you just have one post that goes live, it might only maybe take you 20 minutes to 30 minutes to promote it and then to visit other blogs to get them to come to yours. But I would say 30 minutes to 1 hour is about the average for when you have one post go live on your blog. And of course, how long you spend is completely up to you. And you don't have to do all this right away. You could, divide it up. You could spend maybe 20 minutes the day your post goes live, and then the next day spend another 20 minutes catching up on comments and visiting more bloggers. A few days after a post goes live, the return visits, the comments, and the visitors, it does go down. So this is not something that you have to keep up with, every single hour of every single day. But if you post more often, like 3 times a week or every single day, you will be putting more time into it. Blog post ideas. Anything related to your work in progress or upcoming release would be the perfect blog post to share on your blog. For example, say your book is set in Maine. Say you write about a restaurant in Maine that is a real restaurant and you've been there. You could create a blog post talking about that restaurant and even sharing pictures of that restaurant that maybe you took during your last visit. And you could pair it with the excerpt from your book from when your characters go to that restaurant. This is a great way to attract people who live in Maine, who visit Maine, who grew up in Maine, who love Maine. These are the people who might be interested in your book, which is set in Maine. You could also share your writing and publishing journey. Start from the very beginning, from when you first started writing, from when you first got that spark of an idea for a book or a story. And keep on going, create blog posts all the way through to where you are now. Share every up and down, every failure, every accomplishment. And when you get to where you are now, keep on going, because as we know, the writing and publishing journey doesn't end. You can keep on talking about your current struggles or your current accomplishments. This is a great way to connect with other writers because they might be going through the same things you are, or they might be going through something that you went through in the past. And you can share quality tips. These tips could be writing, publishing, editing, or marketing related. But it doesn't have to be any of those things. You could share quality tips about baking if you want to. Maybe you have a character who is a baker and you like to bake. It's one of your hobbies. You could share baking tips, like what ingredient to use if you don't have another ingredient that is called for in a recipe. That is a tip that would attract bakers who might also be interested in your book about a baker. You could also share your poetry or flash fiction. Say you're having trouble placing your poems or your flash fiction or short stories in other markets. You've tried online magazines, you've tried literary magazines, and you're just struggling to get them accepted. Well, you can publish them on your blog and share them that way. You can also interview and spotlight authors. You will get to know many authors when you start blogging, especially if you join some of the blog hops that I will mention later. But you can also find these authors through social media. Check out who you are friends with on Facebook, who you are following on Twitter, some of the authors that you might have met at book events. You could ask them if they would be interested in an interview on your blog or a spotlight. For an interview, you could have 20 to 25 pre-made questions that you could send them, and then they could choose from the questions that they want to answer. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier on you. Or you could completely make up fresh new interviews specifically for the authors that you are interviewing. That takes a little bit of time, but it is more engaging that way too, more interesting because it's not generic. You can also host author blog tours and giveaways. A blog tour is just like a book tour where an author in the real world will go around from bookstore to bookstore, maybe even city to city, state to state if they are lucky. A blog tour, an author is going around from blog to blog, website to website, promoting their new release. And a lot of the times, these blog tours have giveaways as a part of the post, where anyone who visits the blog post can enter that giveaway. You can find these authors' blog tours through social media and of course through blogging. You will see many authors who blog sharing a post saying, hey, I have a new release coming out. I'm doing a blog tour. Is anyone interested in being one of my stops in my blog tour? And then you can sign up just like that, and they will give you the information and the post that they want you to put up on your blog on a specific day. You can also review books. Any book, whether you've liked it or not, you could review it on your blog. Someone once asked me how to find blogs. The biggest and best way to find blogs, especially new blogs that you haven't come across before, is through blog hops. And I will talk about blog hops next. You can also find blogs through social media. Check out the authors you are following on Facebook and Twitter. If they are sharing a link, maybe an article, maybe they're saying that they have been interviewed or had a spotlight done on somebody's website, you can check it out because most likely that website is a blog. You can leave a comment on that person's blog and hope that they will come and visit your blog. You can also do a Google search. As we all know, if you don't know something, Google comes in handy. You could Google writing blogs, romance blogs, book review blogs, and you will find many of them. You will even find websites that list hundreds of blogs in the category that you're looking for. What is a blog hop? A blog hop is a linky list, and by linky list, I literally mean a list of links, and these links lead to somebody's blog. These are the people who signed up to be a part of the blog hop. So a blog hop is a linky list of blogs that is shared among a group of bloggers so they can all hop around to visit participants on a specific day. So to explain this a little further, someone comes up with the idea for a blog hop and they post about it on their website or their blog. On their website or on their blog, they will post a linky list. So anyone who wants to participate can sign up. And it's really easy to do. You sign up using that linky list. A new page will pop up where you fill in your blog's URL and a name. You can input your name or your blog's name, or you could even do both and separate them with a hyphen. After you sign up for the blog hop, you will create your post for that blog hop using the instructions laid out by the person who created the blog hop. For example, I once did a one-time blog hop for my short story, 30 Seconds Before, where participants got to turn themselves into a mobster. It was a lot of fun, and on the day of the blog hop, the people who signed up to participate went around to see how everybody answered the questions that I provided that turned them into a mobster. I will share some examples of blog hops and what they do and how often they post next. But make sure that when you sign up for this blog hop and you create your post using the instructions laid out by the host of that blog hop, that on the day, make sure you mark it on your calendar, that you go around to visit other participants. That is how you get people to come to your blog. How blog hops help. They are a great way to meet new bloggers, especially if you are new at blogging yourself. There's one blog hop that I will tell you about that has over 200 participants. Now don't worry, you do not need to visit all 200 of those participants. With a blog of that size, it is usually required that you visit at least 10 other bloggers. And that is something that you can definitely do. So say when that blog hop goes live, you visit 20 bloggers and you comment on their blogs and all 20 of them come to your blog in return and leave a comment on your blog post. Now say that 20 people that you did not originally visit come to your blog and comment on it as well. You have 40 people coming to your blog when you maybe usually would only have a couple of people coming to your blog. That is a great surge in traffic to your blog. And that could lead to new followers, because if they've never been to your blog before and they're coming from the blog hop and they like what you posted about, they like your blog, they like what you're doing, and they notice that you're new, that they haven't followed you before, there's a strong chance that they will follow you, and you'll gain many new followers by participating through blog hops. And of course, you will have an increase in comments, especially if you comment on their blogs. Some blog hops that you can try are: celebrate the small things. Every Friday, bloggers share their weekly celebrations. Now, you do not need to be an author to be a part of this blog hop. And you don't have to share a big celebration either. It could be something small. It could be as simple as, today is Friday. I woke up and I changed out of my pajamas. I am celebrating that. For some people, that is actually a big celebration. It could be something silly or something amazing, like you got a publishing contract. But again, it could be extremely simple, like I am celebrating the fact that I got an oil change done on my car. And it can be as short as that as well. You don't have to do a long post. The Insecure Writers Support Group is the blog hop that I was telling you about that has over 200 participants. This blog hop is one that I am greatly invested in. On the first Wednesday of every month, writers share their insecurities. And it could be anything writing related. You could be insecure about your current work in progress because it's not going the way you want it to. Or you could be insecure about your upcoming release. Maybe you don't have any insecurities at the moment. Things are going well. Or you're tired of talking about the same insecurity over and over again. This blog hop has an optional monthly question that you can answer. It changes every single month. It's different every time. You could use that to create your post. Just answer the question, and then you can go around to see how everybody else answered that question. Hashtag Author Toolbox Blog Hop happens on the third Wednesday of every month, where bloggers share advice and resources for authors. You do not need to be published in order to be a part of this blog hop. You could share any sort of advice that you have while you're aiming towards publication. But say you don't have your own advice. Say you're looking for advice, but you know some really good resources. You can share those resources. If you found a really great book for writers, you could talk about that in one of your posts. If you found an awesome website for writers, you can talk about that for your post. Write, Edit, Publish, also known as WEP, W-E-P, happens on the third Wednesday of every other month. Participants use a prompt to write a story or poem of 1,000 words max. These prompts can be anything, and they do have them up on their website in advance so you can create your poem or story before it's time to post. You can do it well in advance. And it could be anything. One of their prompts for later this year is red wheelbarrow. Whatever comes to your mind when you think of red wheelbarrow, you could create a story or poem of 1,000 words max. It could be a mystery. It could be heartwarming. It could be funny. It could be anything. Create your story or poem and then check out how everybody else used that prompt to create something different. Two platforms that are the most popular that I recommend are blogger.com and wordpress.com. Blogger.com has an extremely simple setup. Now, of course, whenever we begin using something that we're not familiar with, we have questions, we don't know how exactly it works, but Blogger is much more easier to get the hang of, and it's free. WordPress.com is a bit more complicated. I use Blogger for my blog and WordPress for my website, and there are still times when I have to update my website that I don't remember how I did something. But WordPress.com is also free. However, with the free version, there will be ads on your blog unless you upgrade. Now, if you're okay with ads on your blog, you do not need to upgrade and you could keep the free version. The good thing is that these ads are at the bottom of your site. They are not inside your blog post. They will not pop up out of nowhere, suddenly start playing music or anything like that. They will not disturb your visitors in any way. They might see the ads when they scroll down to the comment section, but that's all. So if you're okay with that, definitely stick with the free version. Setting up your blog, you can get really creative with it and make it your own. First, you pick a theme. WordPress has pre-made looks that already have the layouts a part of the theme and the background. If you pick one, you cannot change the layout. But with Blogger, you can pick a theme and you can customize it. You can actually pick the layout. And the layout is the arrangement of columns and sidebars. The column is in the middle, most likely. It's the biggest part, and that is where your blog post will be. The sidebars are literally on the side. They are sidebars where you can put extra information and some gadgets, and I'll talk about gadgets next. You can have one sidebar or you can have two sidebars, and you could pick which side, the left side or the right side, that you want your sidebar on. You can also choose the background. There are theme colors, like with Blogger, they come with common themes and colors for those themes. Or you can select your own color for the background. When I first started blogging, I used one of Blogger's pre-made looks, which was a bookshelf. You saw a bunch of book spines in the background. Well, I realized that every writer and every book blogger also used the same theme. So I decided to change the background to a smoky gray color. You can also pick the colors for your links. On my blog, my links are a bright neon green. You can also choose colors for the text, the tabs, and the tabs are at the top of your blog. Those are for your pages. And you can pick the colors for the borders and separators. And that just keeps your blog organized. And you can choose the font size, style, and color. There is a lot that you get to change with your blog to make it your own. And I definitely suggest that you spend time doing that and getting that right and just how you want it before you start posting blog posts and before you start sharing your URL. You want your blog looking at its best before you actually make it live. Sidebars and gadgets. These are some gadgets that I suggest that you put in one of your sidebars. The followers gadget is obviously how people can follow your blog. And when they follow your blog, your posts will show up in their blog feed on the home page when they sign in to Blogger or WordPress. I suggest having this followers gadget up top on your blog in the sidebar, because the further down you put it, the harder it will be for people to find it. And you definitely don't want it at the very bottom of your blog. You want it up top so people can find it easily and follow your blog. The blog search gadget is a search bar. If you have this search bar on your blog, someone who is visiting your blog looking for posts about writer's block can type in writer's block into that search bar. And every post that you have done with the words writer's block in the title, in the tags, and in the actual text will show up for them. The blog archive gadget is an archive of all of your posts that you've done on your blog. This is something great to have in case someone wants to see what posts you have done earlier in the month or even years ago. Social media links I suggest having in your sidebar, because although you might have an About Me page, people might not actually go to that page to find your social media links, but they will always be in the sidebar. No matter what page they go to, no matter what post they go to and read, those social media links will always be there. Something else I recommend putting in the sidebar are your book covers. Put them in your sidebar because someone might not go to your book page to find out what books you have published. You put them in your sidebar, even a pre-release or an upcoming release, a pre-order. You can have them all in your sidebar. And what's great about this is if someone is visiting your blog, reading one of your posts, your cover could catch their eye, and then they could click on it. And I do recommend having those covers clickable, so it will lead them to either your book page on your blog, or it will bring them to the Amazon page for that book. And it is very easy to insert a link when you upload a photo into the sidebar. Blog pages that I recommend that you have. First, of course, an About page or About Me. This does not have to be long. It could be a short paragraph. The paragraph or the biography, the bio that you use as an author, you can put on the About Me page, and you can include your author photo and all of your social media links. I also recommend the My Books page or just Books page. Here you can have all of your books for anyone interested in finding out about what you have published. If you just have 1 or 2 books published, you could have the cover art, the blurb, and the buy links. The buy links are the places where your books are available, such as Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. And you can also include an excerpt, because if you only have 1 or 2 books available, you can include a lot more information on your books page. But if you have a lot more books available, maybe 5 or more, I would only stick with the cover, the blurb, and the buy links. Because if you include the excerpts for every single one of these books, you're creating a lot of content that someone is going to have to scroll through to see every single book that you have published. So the less information for more books that you have is better. but always, always include the blurb, the cover art, and the buy links, no matter what. You can also have a newsletter sign-up page on your blog. Now, this could be an actual page that you create talking about your newsletter and maybe leading them to the sign-up form. Or you can take the link, the URL for your sign-up form, and actually make that a page on your blog. So if someone was to click on newsletter or newsletter sign-up page on your blog, it'll take them directly to your newsletter sign-up form. And you can see an example of this when you go to my website, www.chrysfey.com, CHRYSFEY.com. You will see the newsletter page there. And when someone clicks on it, it brings them directly to my sign-up form. You can also have guest guidelines. This is great if you want to have guests on your blog, such as authors or other writers. If you don't know what sort of guidelines to lay out for your guests, you don't know what you should ask them for in order to set up those blog posts, you can check out the guest guidelines on other websites, other book bloggers and author blog websites to see what they asked their guests for. And any other pages you feel are necessary, you can create them on your blog because it's your blog. You can do what you want with it. This is an example of what you will see when you visit my blog. And you can see all of the pages, all of the tabs at the top of my blog. There's the About page, My Books page, Newsletter. Again, if they click on that, they will go directly to my newsletter sign-up form. The book club will lead them to the Insecure Writer Support Group book club on Goodreads, which I run. And there is Be My Guest and Press Kit. The other pages on my blog are for writers. They contain links and information all about writing and publishing and marketing. Anything, hopefully, that a writer will want to know or may need to know. Your blog post. When you are creating a blog post, one of the first things you will do is come up with a post title. And when you come up with a post title, it's important to use keywords because those keywords will help readers to know what your blog is about, and they will help your post to come up in searches on Google. So for example, I did a blog post. It was a guest post on someone else's blog, 5 ways to spice up your Amazon book pages. So right away, someone who comes across that knows that this post is about Amazon book pages, and there are 5 tips on Amazon book pages. Using numbers is really good, especially if you have a numbered post or bullet points of information. And of course, using the words how to is also a draw because everybody wants to know how to do something. Headers, subheadings, bullet points, numbered lists, and smaller blocks of text make for easier readability. You do not want to have huge paragraphs of information because no one's going to read all of that. People who go to blogs or websites skim for the information that they are looking for. So you want to make your posts skimmable with headers and subheadings and bullet points. So say you create a welcome paragraph, a few sentences long, you can start with that welcome paragraph at the beginning of your post. And then you could create a header, bold font, large font, that is just the title of your post, basically repeated again. And then after that, you can lay out all of the information and use subheadings and bullet points and numbered lists. Images also help to break up text, especially if you have a long post. And again, posts can be any length. They can be long, they can be lengthy, or they can be very short. Say you found a quote that you love, it speaks to you. You can share that quote as a blog post, just the quote, and that's it. You can also share one image, one photo as your blog post. Or you can have a really meaty blog post with lots of information using headers and subheadings and bullet points, of course. Your post can be any length. There's no rules for this, no recommendations. Create the post that you want. And at the end of your post, have a call to action at the end. A call to action could be a question related to your blog post. These questions will help visitors and readers to leave a comment, because many people don't know what to contribute to a post. They don't know what to add. They don't know what to comment. But if you have a question at the end of your post related to the content, they will use that question to leave a comment by answering that question. So for example, you have a blog post about writer's block. You could ask at the end of your post if they have ever had writer's block and what they have done to get through it. And then you'll have many comments answering that question. What to do once you publish a post? Of course, you want to share it across social media on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can take a screenshot of it and post it on Instagram. Reply back to all comments. This is something I greatly believe in, because if someone comes to your blog and they take the time to leave a comment, you should take the time to reply back to that comment. There have been times where I have created back and forth conversations in one of my blog posts because when I replied back to someone's comment, they ended up coming back to reply back to my comment, and then I replied back to theirs. This is a great way to create relationships with bloggers. And something that bloggers all across the blogging world believe in is returning visits and commenting on the blogs of the people who comment on yours. This is just good etiquette. If someone comes to your blog and comments on that, you should go to their blog and comment on their most recent post, because that is how you build connections. That is how you get followers. That is how you get comments. That is how you build relationships with other writers and authors that one day might prove very profitable for you. They could help you. They could be your future beta readers. They could one day give you great advice that changes everything for you. But you have to return those visits and reply back to comments. That is how you build relationships, and that is really what blogging is all about, getting to know other people in your community. If you don't want a blog, you could be a guest blogger instead. Check out your social media and the writers and the authors that you follow. Chances are they will share a post from their very own blog. Check it out. Contact them saying that you'd like to offer them a guest post, and it could be writing related or it could be about your book. You can do a blog tour. Again, you do not need a blog to do a blog tour. You just need to know how to find bloggers, and you can do that by, again, paying attention to your social media or by using Google and Googling book bloggers, and you will find websites that list hundreds of book bloggers that you can contact to host you for your blog tour. Whenever you do a guest post or a blog tour, make sure that you include your photo, your bio, and all of your social media links, because you want people to know about you and to be able to find you everywhere. Also include the cover art, blurb, and buy links for the book that your post or your blog tour is about. And if you don't have a blog and you don't want a blog, I highly, highly recommend that you have a website instead, because you do need a home for your readers, a home for your followers, and for your books. A website is yours, you control it, and you don't have to worry about things like, all the problems with Facebook. And, we never know what's going to happen with some of these social media platforms. One day, one of them might go away, but your website is yours, you control it, and it will always be there as long as you continue to pay for the domain. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I hope you have gotten a lot out of it. I hope you took some notes, and I hope that this inspired you to start blogging, or maybe revamp a blog that you might have put on the back burner after creating it a few years ago. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I will reply back to them. Thank you so much. This has been Chrys Fay, author of Write with Fay, 10 Sparks to Guide You from Idea to Publication. Bye.